sister cousins, welcome to my channel. I'm Lady C and I'm here to tell you how I feel. Now, like and subscribe if you're new, and run it up in the comments. Let me know you stopped by. Now, dearly beloveds, we are gathered here today to talk about Mayfair Witches Season 2, Episode 4.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, so this episode is titled Double Helix, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So, girl. So, we open up today's episode, and we have a little blast from the past, girl. It is Rowan and Lark, and they're just a couple college kids in love. And, girl, they are actually getting the houseboat together for Rowan. And, girl, Lark decides this is the perfect time to break some bad news to Rowan. She was like, girl, listen, I got accepted into Kelpinger University or Institute or whatever, and I'm about to take this job out here in New York. And so Rowan was obviously upset, and she was like, girl, like, when was you gonna tell me? He was like, I mean, you know, I just didn't find the right time because I didn't know if I was gonna get into the Institute or whatnot. And so, girl, she was like, well, when did you actually apply for this job? And he was like, oh, girl, this was back in January. And I'm assuming it's like summertime, so that wasn't good timing. You know what I'm saying? They obviously break up. And then we go ahead and fast forward into today's time. And, girl, we got Sleeping Beauty in bed trying to sleep up some of that sleeping gas. And so, girl, Momo comes upstairs and she's like, listen, girl, it's time to wake up because you got to clean up this mess that you done made, right? So Rowan wakes up and she was giving her all kind of attitude, being real sassy. And I'm like, girl, you are really sassy for somebody that's made a huge mess. You know what I'm saying? And so, girl, finally, Moira was like, listen, girl, like, all of this is on you. This ain't on me. Rowan is like, girl, well, this is on you too because, girl, why did you get Sip involved? Like, you turned your back on us. I thought we had an agreement. And then Moira was like, well, girl, I thought we had an agreement. And so Lark calls and she's like, girl, don't answer that phone. She was like, nah, girl, shut up. Let me take this phone call real quick. And so she takes the phone call and they have these arrangements for breakfast because remember last night they were supposed to do breakfast the next morning, right? So, girl, Rowan dashes on out the house and leaves Moira behind. Okay, so now, girl, we skip on down to the Talamasca County Jail / headquarters, girl. And, girl, Lasher and Albert is nowhere to be found, right? Moira keeps calling and he's like, listen, girl, I got to send you the voicemail, girl, because I'm trying to talk to this lady at the front desk. And so the lady at the front desk is like, listen, Albert is not on record since last night. And so he was like, well, girl, rally up, everybody. We got to go find him. So, girl, they round up the troops and everybody's trying to look for him and it's no dice, girl. So Rose shows up to the hotel and she's having her little breakfast brunch date with Lark. And so Lark is still trying to find out what's going on and trying to put pieces together to figure out exactly why Ro has been so mysterious, right? And so, girl, he was like, well, girl, you did say that you was trapped in a house. And she was like, well, no, girl, we a little trapped in a closet. Bless his heart, because, girl, he is just so clueless. So, girl, now back to the Mayfair house. We have Moira. She's trying to look for clues. And then she gets a phone call from one of the cousins. And he was like, well, listen, girl, we're about to elect a new designee. We need you down here so we can make this election or whatever. And so she was like, girl, I cannot come down to the house, girl. I am waiting here at the Mayfair house for my sister. She's still trapped in a thrall. So, girl, no. So then, meanwhile, we have Uncle Cortland upstairs trying to figure out how to get out the room. And then here come Lil Millie talking about, girl, that's why you trapped here anyway. Just taunting him, like really getting under his skin. Like they have a little back and forth and everything. He's trying to figure out how to get out the room. But, girl, whole time we have parts of the house falling apart. So something must be going on with the house because of Lasher's absence. You know what I'm saying? So we're back to the hotel and, girl, Lark / Diane Sawyer is still trying to get to the bottom of the crime, girl. Trying to figure out exactly what Ro is up to. And Ro is still being very vague. And he kind of gets a little snappy and says, well, girl, I guess you're just trying to figure this all out by yourself. And so Ro snaps back and was like, well, girl, I've had to pretty much figure things out by myself because people can let you down. And I was like, girl, get him, girl. So then Ro gets a phone call and she goes back to the house and, girl, the house is in shambles and everything is falling apart. Now we're back to the abandoned car lot where Lasher and Albert were last seen, right? And so Cyprian gets a small clue as to what they were doing. And I tell you, he lost his marbles, girl. He lost his marbles because he's been had.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So back to the house, girl, Moira had already told Rowan, like, girl, listen, you're going to have to call Cyprian because, girl, he's not going to answer my phone call. So here come Ro, girl. Hey, big head. I know we ain't talked in a minute, but, you know, how you been? I'm like, girl, if you don't hurry up and get to the meat and potatoes of this, because, girl, we ain't got time for play. You know what I'm saying? So Cyprian's like, girl, I hear you, but put Mo on the phone, okay? So Mo grabs the phone, and Cyp and her have a conversation. Girl, he tells her, listen, I went on ahead and lost Lash, okay? I don't know where they went. Girl, they gone, right? So Mo and Rowan decide that Cyprian is a dead end. They're not going to be able to get any more information from him. And they decide that they're going to ask Uncle Cortland, since Uncle Cortland knew a lot about Albert and everything else that they had planned, right? So, girl, they go upstairs to ask Cortland. Moira reads his mind a little bit, but he's really not any help. They decide to let him out anyway. But what they did figure out was that the patroller was at Aunt Dolly's house, so they were going to go ahead and go to Aunt Dolly's house, and Cortland was going to stay behind and go over the papers that the father had left behind, right? So Lark is back to the hotel packing it up, and he decides, you know what? I'm gonna take the DNA from the coffee cup and try to run a few tests myself, because something is just not adding up. And meanwhile, Cyp is down to the Talamasca, still looking for more clues with Albert. And girl, he's in the office, and he's left behind a little message in the wine bottle, and he was like, girl, this is not enough. So he goes over to the fireplace, and the fireplace has a few loose ashes, and he picks up what looks like a note, but before he gets to read it, girl, some weirdos show up in the back like, girl, we know who you are, and girl, we from Amsterdam, and we got a few questions, girl. Where is Albert? And he was like, well, girl, I don't know where Albert is, girl. Your guess is just as good as mine. And so, girl, she was like, well, good, because we taking you to Amsterdam to say the same exact thing that you just said. Just repeat it the exact same way. So now we are down to Aunt Dolly's house. Rowan and Moira is looking through the window and seeing Dolly swinging and swaying to the beat, but ain't nobody there. So they go in to see what's going on, and they find out that she's pretty much enchanted. And she's like, well, listen, girl, don't touch her, because we got to wait for her to come up out of this. So then here comes Evelyn like, girl, what is y'all doing here? Like, why are y'all in this house? And they was like, well, listen, girl, we was trying to see what was going on because we thought she was in trouble.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
But obviously she's not. What is happening? And they was like, well, listen, girl, we got a little bit of a love connection with Julian, and Julian is tied to this patroller. So it seems like Evelyn and Dolly have this weird, like, ancestral thing that they call their passion. So, girl, I was disgusted. Like, what the is that? Like, what kind of family is this? That's supposed to be your family member, and y'all are tied to him in some weird romantic way. I don't get that. And y'all share? Ugh. But then, girl, we find out that Aunt Dolly is actually the younger sister, and Evelyn is the older sister, and she's under like a youth enchantment. And girl, as soon as she pulls Dolly up out of her enchantment, girl, she ages horribly. Like, she looks a mess. Down to the Mayfair house, girl, Millie and Cortland are still bickering like an elderly couple, girl. But back down to Dolly and Evelyn's house, girl, they're telling her that, listen, Julian don't know nothing, he ain't seen nothing, he can't help you. And they're like, listen, girl, we are not buying it. We think that Julian knows a little bit more than what he's telling. And so Rowan's like, listen, I'll ask him. So Ro offers to go inside of the patroller, and Evelyn is like, nah, girl, forget that. We just got this thing back. We ain't giving it up.
Oh, fuck the family.
Moira goes into the other room, and girl, as soon as she starts touching the patroller, girl, all type of chaos and confusion started happening. Because now Moira's eyes is rolling in the back of her head, and girl, she is screaming out Taltos. Now listen, I've heard the word Taltos from different pages and different, Facebook groups and everything, but I don't know what Taltos is. So somebody help me out. Tell me exactly what that is. But anyway, girl, Rowan tries to help Moira, but they tell her not to help, but she helps anyway. She ends up going to the hospital. So now down to the hospital, Moira and Rowan are trauma bonding over the Mayfair family issues. And Moira offers to be Rowan's rope for when she goes inside of the patroller. So now we back down to the Mayfair house to get the party started, girl. We got the vial, we got the hourglass, and she is getting ready to go down under into Julian's world. And girl, she takes her little sip, they turn the hourglass upside down, and we have Rowan in a shot of her pretty blue eyes. And that's the end of the episode. It was a pretty nice filler episode. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. It's just pretty in the middle. So I'm assuming that we're probably going to get a little bit more action come next week. But I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Now, girl, make sure you like this video, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell if you're really about that life. Now, girl, I keep telling y'all, talk to me in these comments, all right? I love to talk, and especially if you have any information about Tautos. I really want to know more information. I don't really want to look for the videos. I want y'all to tell me, okay? Because some of y'all read the book, and I'm really cool with that. Like, tell me the information. But anyway, girl, I'll call y'all back later. Bye.